Trump supporters on Snapchat are just trying to go about their lives and maybe share a meme or two, and they're being preyed upon by grifters. And joining us now to break it down with some great reporting, reporter for HuffPost, Jessalyn Cook, welcome back to the Damage Report.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on. So you had a really fascinating article not long ago on HuffPost about some ads you'd found that were targeting younger Trump supporting Snapchatters. Can you tell us a little bit about those ads?
Yeah, ads were running on Snapchat that had been micro-targeted to young people living in red states who liked watching Fox News, who had conservative-leaning interests, and they were promoting basically just a lot of free Trump swag, whether it's hats, shirts, pool floats, and big free letters popping out at you, buy it for free or get it for free. And of course, there's a catch when you swipe up and you get to the page that is selling the product, buried in fine print, it says that you are actually going to be signed up for a very costly monthly membership, which would be easy for a teenager to miss.
Yeah, so that's a catch, but it's not just that you have to pay for your pool float or whatever. You're getting locked into something that's actually far more expensive. And I think in one case that you referenced, it's $142 every single month with no ability to get a refund. So that's a significant financial outlay, if non-consensual, especially for younger Americans.
Yeah, it's very deceptive. It says you just need to put in your credit card information to cover the cost of shipping, and then you get your free Trump hat. But if you pay attention to your credit card bill, you'll see $142 every month going forward.
Do we have any idea of how successful these ads have been? Have you seen people talking about getting duped by these sorts of grifters?
Yeah, I spoke to a couple Trump supporters who said they had been duped by these ads. They didn't want to talk to me on the record for an article. A lot of Trump supporters don't like the media, but
really,
yeah, shocking. But I would say that the scale of these ads shows how successful they are. Some of these companies, these predatory companies running these ads, have been doing so unabated for months and have spent like hundreds of thousands of dollars pouring into these ads.
So presumably, probably bringing in millions of dollars that no one actually wanted to give them. So these companies that you've identified that are doing this, is this a violation in any way of Snapchat's terms of service? Is Snapchat going to do anything? Do they consider this to be a problem?
Yeah, Snapchat has policies prohibiting false or misleading ads, and Snapchat also, every ad goes through human review, so it's hard to understand how so many of these slip through the cracks. They also do quality checks, and after I reached out to Snapchat and flagged a bunch of these ads, they stopped working with those advertisers. So not sure how they missed that first time around.
Interesting. And I'm gonna be completely honest. While I spend a lot of time on Twitter and a little bit of time on Instagram, mostly for work, I have spent very little time on Snapchat. So I don't know much about the current state of it in terms of advertising. Is there anything sort of baked into Snapchat that makes it a good spot for companies to do these sorts of predatory ads?
The young user base, it's a lot of young people on Snapchat. And Snapchat has, like other tech platforms, it can let you get very specific with who you want to show your ads to. So if you want to target teenagers, if you want to target people even with certain geographic coordinates, you can get pretty specific at who sees your ad. And so it does leave a lot of room open for nefarious activity when you are kind of sidestepping transparency in that way and just showing ads to very siloed audiences.
Exactly, and then potentially, sort of the implication of some of what you were saying, having Snapchat then provide a little bit of a blockage to transparency on your behalf, implying that they're following their terms of service, but in reality, not really seeming to do so. So you explain the idea of micro-targeting. Dark ads, what are those?
Yeah, a dark ad is just that. It's if I wanted to show an ad promoting a specific product only to people in a certain geographic area or only people who are interested in one thing or another, I could do so using Facebook, Snapchat, a bunch of platforms. And they make it very easy to do this, and it makes sense if you're trying to sell. I think the example I use in my article is cat food. Like you could just show your dark ad just to people who have cats and who live near your business. But it gets to be more problematic when you're running things like SCAMS or Facebook actually used to make it possible to specifically hide ads from ethnic affinities, which opened the gates for like housing discrimination and just all kinds of racist ads. So there's a lot of concern surrounding dark ads.
Do we have any reason to believe that that's one of the sorts of filters you can apply in microtargeting on Snapchat along racial or religious or?
No, platforms are pretty careful now. That came out, I think, ahead of the 2016 election, and platforms are very careful about not letting you be openly racist in their ads. But it opens the gates for problems too with political campaigns, like sending one message to one group of people that no one else is going to see, and then changing their tone and saying something else to a different targeted audience.
So I fear that because of the nature of the group that you're talking about that's being targeted is they're Trump fans, they're conservatives. Some of our audience might not be 100% sympathetic towards them, but I obviously feel bad. If you're some random 18-year-old, I mean, I remember if I had been locked into some sort of $142 a month payment, that would have been the end for me effectively. So I obviously feel bad for them, but I'm curious, in your research that you've done, have you found any equivalents of this sort of predatory behavior targeting like Biden fans or Bernie fans or anything like that?
I haven't. I did write about a similar scam on Facebook run by Mike Huckabee's company. He runs a History for Kids company, and he was doing the same kind of bait and switch scheme there. So it definitely, you can do this on many different platforms, but I have seen a lot more of this kind of grifting on right-wing pages than left-wing.
Interesting. I wonder, yeah, I mean, it would be pure speculation, but I wonder if it has more to do with perhaps they're more likely to fall into it, or if it's just the nature of the people doing the grifting. I wonder. But also I'm curious, just because we have you here and you obviously know Snapchat a lot better than I do. We've been talking a lot over the past year about the changing stances towards political advertising on Twitter and Facebook especially, how much they're going to allow in terms of how inaccurate the things you say can be. Do we have an idea of what the standards are for Snapchat for actual candidate or otherwise political ads?
As other platforms are kind of shying away from political ads or giving users more control over what they see, Snapchat is kind of going in the opposite direction and really aggressively pursuing political ads. And I think, people our age are less familiar with Snapchat, and so it kind of flies under the radar a bit. But there is, I would say, room for this kind of deceptive advertising for politicians and campaigns as well. So we'll just have to keep a close eye on it.
Okay, and I appreciate that you're doing that. Every time you come on the show, we learn a little bit more about what's going on in social media sites than I knew before. So Jessalyn Cook, I really appreciate you joining us as always.
Thanks so much.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.